Welcome to Finally Motivated, where we discover why entrepreneurs do what they do so that you can also better understand what motivates you. Today we have a very special guest. We have Miss Nia Ball. She is a real estate investor, owner of multiple cash flowing businesses. She is an action taker and also the founder of the Legacy Builder Wealth System. And I'm very excited to have her here today. Nia, welcome.
Thank you. What an introduction. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. And from the moment I walked into the door here, I mentioned to you, I just felt extremely inspired and motivated. And so I want to thank you so much for having me.
I love it. And I also want to mirror that because you're also an inspiration. And everyone that we talk to and everyone that I've talked to in my life has an influence that is necessary for who I am right now. And I think a few weeks ago we went to a mastermind networking event and mastermind group where we were actually on the same plane.
Yes.
And that was an amazing experience because we never really got a chance to sit down and talk for that long.
Not that long. And we talked the whole entire trip.
So that felt like alignment, and just also
Yes.
hearing your story was very inspirational. So I want to thank you for being vulnerable enough to share more about who you are.
Wow. For some reason, you emit an energy that makes me trust. And so I felt it was very easy for me to share that information with you because I trusted you. And I was sharing it for one reason, and it totally turned into a completely different reason. And the experience was amazing because I never really had an opportunity to know what drove you, what motivated you. And in learning that, I was like, wow, it was definitely alignment.
Yeah, that's the key word, alignment.
Yes.
So one thing that I find very interesting, whenever I meet someone is, how did we get here? How did Nia become Nia today?
What a great question. Whenever somebody asks me that question, I always think about my mom and my story, my beginning. When I was born back in the 70s, I'm not going to say, so it was a long time ago. The city of Philadelphia felt that because my mother was a quadriplegic, she was born without the complete use of her limbs. And they felt that because she was disabled, that also disqualified her from being a parent. And so they came into the home to remove me from the home. There was no neglect happening. There was no abuse happening. There was no reason other than the fact that she had limitations. And but that wasn't the end of the story, right? So she went to the news media. The Jet magazine came out, and they documented what was happening, this great injustice to this woman who, while she lacked the physical capabilities. Well, it wasn't the physical capabilities. Let me rephrase that. While she lacked her arms and legs, she still loved me. She still had there was nothing wrong with her mind. There was nothing wrong with her abilities to parent. And so she went to court. She changed my diaper in a courtroom, in front of a crowded courtroom, and ultimately won custody of me. And so that was like the very beginning. But why I am who I am today was the journey with her. And so you can imagine somebody in that situation not having the use of their limbs. They have to improvise in a lot of ways. And it's almost as if God gave her superpowers that most parents don't have because of what she didn't have. And so we made it work. Now, there was a lot of, housing instability. There was a lot of moving around from this place to that place, because when you are disabled, and she didn't have a lot of money, she was doing the best that she could with what she had. And so sometimes the housing wasn't the best, but it was always a home. So we often didn't have the best house, but we always had an amazing home. And so she created an environment of love, of support, and just inspiration. She was the epitome of inspiration because, you know, when I would watch her struggle through things and never give up and constantly push forward no matter what the circumstances were, that was infused into me. Like I have no choice then to be a go-getter because of who she was. And so living with that kind of power, living with somebody who, you know, always made a way out of no way, I had no choice then to be who I am today. And so it's kind of like where things started. And as a result of all that I went through and as a result of some of my traumas that involved, you know, sometimes, you know, we lived in a home and the water wasn't hot at times. You know, we would have the heat would go out, you know, for temporarily until she could get it back on. And when those things happen, you know, she like, all right, well, don't worry about it. The heat is off. Go put some water on the stove and heat the water up so we can get some heat in here and find a way. And I will say, excuse me. And I will say that, you know, living in those circumstances, it wasn't easy on us. Like we learned how to persevere. We learned how to problem solve. We learned how to problem solve. But as a result of that trauma, when I became an adult, I was determined that I would never allow for my children to have to experience those things. And not just my children, but other people's children too. And so when my husband and I first started doing real estate, we said, you know what we want to do? We want to invest in low income housing that would make, you know, proper living and suitable living affordable to everybody. And not just from the perspective of them renting from us. We wanted to empower people to be homeowners. And so we started that when we were 22 years old. We purchased our first real estate investment property from the auction and using our income tax check. And the rest is history. We just kept doing it over and over. And we wash and repeat until now we have a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio and we are still growing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
amazing. And it's also a great thing to consider when you led with love. Like, and that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't really put attention towards. They talk about, you know, this is how much money I want to make, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you lead with love, it's a completely different energy source.
Absolutely.
Where it's replenished the more you lead with love.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you said that because it's always been about leading with love for us. If you are doing any type of business, I don't care if you're selling ice cream cones, you need to have the mindset that you are going to help people. How can I help you with an ice cream cone? If it's a hot day, I can provide you with some relief from the heat. I can provide, ice cream makes everybody happy. You know what I mean? So always, we should always be thinking of a way that we can help people. What else can that ice cream do? That ice cream can also bring communities together. It could be a hub where, people hang out, kids hang out, where families go after dinner. You know what I mean? So you should always have in your mind, in the back of your mind, whatever the business is, how can this business help someone else? How can it bring joy to someone else? And so that's what we lead with all the time.
And I think one other thing that a lot of us, we get distracted by the identities of other people and fail to remember maybe some of the things that we would have wanted to have at some point. And usually that's when it's the strongest anyway.
That is everything. I love that you said that. That is why we created the Legacy Builder Wealth System, because when we first started out, we had no support. We had no mentors. We had nobody showing us the ropes. And so what we did was what we knew or what we could think of, right? But that wasn't always right. Sometimes we made mistakes and costly mistakes. And so the reason we created the Legacy Builder Wealth System is because I want to help other entrepreneurs, other 9-to-5ers, other individuals who are just getting started in real estate. I want to help them to avoid the costly mistakes that I made, right? And so, that was how that was even birthed, with someone else in mind, right? If I would have had the support 20 years ago that I am going to provide to other people now, I would be a gazillionaire by now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we are coming back for those that, I'm coming back for my 20-year-old self to help that person.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you found the strength within you to go ahead and do that and put effort towards it, because someone needs it.
Yeah.
And you've decided, you know what? I'm going to find a way, lead with love, and build this thing and provide value. And money becomes a deserving byproduct of the work that you do.
I love that byproduct.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
But it really matters what you're leading with. And I'm proud of you for being able to find that alignment. And it seems like it wasn't that difficult for you to find something that is something that you would have wanted for yourself. Can you speak on that a little bit?
So again, I have to go back to my mom again. She was such a huge source of power and inspiration and strength in my life. And she always helped people. She was born because of her disability and the way that she was, people always looked at her.
Yeah.
Some looked at her to peer and wonder what in the world happened to this woman. And, some folks joked about her. Some folks were really moved by her power and how she still, was an amazing mother despite her physical challenges. But despite the reason that they were watching, somebody was always watching. And that's something that we need to understand as entrepreneurs. Someone is always watching. Right. And you are going to either be an inspiration to someone or you're going to be a stumbling block to someone.
Oh man, that spoke to me, because you're absolutely right. Someone is always watching, and sometimes we get in our own way where so for me, I feel like there was a lot that I knew I could do and a lot of impact that I could make, but I was hiding. I think I was very afraid of what I could do, my potential.
Yeah.
I saw it at a small scale. And when you think about how life can change, the more that you reach more and more of your potential, it gets a little bit scary.
It's scary.
Because you don't go back.
You can't.
When you have a mindset shift, you can't think the same way that you used to anymore. You become a different person.
Ooh, this is good.
So for me, when I made the decision to be a motivational coach, I knew that the more I tell people and the more I believe in myself, I'm not going back on this. I can't. It's not possible. A leaf that comes off of a branch, it doesn't go back in that same spot.
Oh, that's good.
It transforms into something else.
It transforms, but it still has life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still has purpose.
It still has purpose.
But it will never be the initial purpose.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
One of the things that my mom did was, like, because people watched her so much, she was like hope to people. And I said to you, I made the statement that somebody is always watching for a reason. Of the number of people that watched her, so many people gained confidence. They gained courage. They were inspired to accomplish their goals despite whatever challenges. And then so my mother was like a hope dealer. She was literally somebody that provided hope to people. And so sadly, she passed away suddenly. So we didn't expect it. She was in a car accident. And the moment that happened, Pekins, that was when the Legacy Builder was born. because my mother was the original legacy builder, and she was here to inspire people and uplift people and
Got it.
encourage people and let people know, like, you don't let anybody come into your home and take your baby. You don't allow anybody to take anything from you. If it's yours, you stand by it and you protect it, and you, so that she was hope. And then it doesn't matter the hand that life deals you. You still play full out no matter what. And so she did that. And once she passed, somebody had to carry on the legacy. Somebody had to continue giving my family hope. Somebody had to continue, because what she also did was she was great at dreaming big. She was a dreamer. She would have us go to restaurants we could not even afford, because we would come in, my sister and I'd be looking around like, Mom, we cannot afford to eat here. But she never thought about money in that way. She was all about experiences. And so she was like, you know what? We're eating here because we belong here. And so because of those things, it made me dream bigger, made me realize, guess what? I belong and I can do this. And so that's where the legacy builder was born. And so
I love that she was the original.
the OG.
And what we can even dig a bit deeper into that. And I think a lot of people can find inspiration in this, where it's not as you're not defining her being a legacy builder by the amount of money she left you, or the amount of assets and properties and stuff like that, but you found so much immeasurable value in the mindset, in the identity, in the dreams, in the ability to dream beyond your current circumstances. And that, for you to say she's a legacy builder by providing that, that is a lesson for all of us to learn.
I love that you discovered that, because that is exactly what my message is. We are all legacy builders. The question is, what type of legacy are we going to leave behind? I watched my mother love everybody in her space, love us. She taught us to love. And so when we started this conversation, before we even mentioned my mother, you know what we said? We said, lead with love. And that is exactly what she did and what she taught me. And I want to say this, my ideal client is someone who doesn't have it all together. My ideal client is someone who has never done real estate before. That person who may not even, you don't have a real estate license, you don't have a lot of money. That is my ideal client. And the reason that is my ideal client is because I know you can come from nothing and make something out of yourself. And I know that as long as you have the proper mindset, as long as you have a will to win, you can do anything. And so and that's the population that's left behind. The population that's, not as popular, because that was me. You're not as popular, you're not as outspoken, or maybe you're not somebody that's on the in crowd. I love that person.
Yeah.
I love that person, because that was me, and I was able to do what I was able to do, not being, what everybody thought I should be.
Yeah. So it almost seems a bit selfish to not be the best version of yourself, because you might be holding back value that someone else can use.
Oh, good. That's good. Yes, absolutely.
Right?
You
Can
always do this.
can you tell me about a time where you had to imagine a version of yourself that you felt deserved something, even though circumstances around you said otherwise?
I feel that sometimes right now. Because Pika said that question was a little heavy.
I don't go light, Nia.
I already know.
I'm sorry. Because you're speaking of mindset and how powerful that is.
It's when you have to begin to convince yourself. When you are, what I realized that I had been doing over the last few years is seeking validation. And when you lose a parent, and for me, both parents, because I lost both parents, I'm always often seeking someone's approval. And the moment that things shifted for me and when I stopped doing that was when I recognized, girl, you are it. You are a boss. Even with all of my successes, even with
Yeah.
all of the properties, I still questioned if I was enough. Now I know, oh, I am more than enough.
You're it.
I'm it. I'm it. And getting comfortable with understanding that and not really being concerned with anybody who doesn't believe that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you got me a little bit with that one. You got me a little bit.
So I want to continue to empower you to be everyone, like all the identities that you believe that you can be, every single one of them, because why not?
Why not?
Why not? Like the people who will love the identity that you choose are out there.
Yeah.
And the people who have something to say about who you think you can be, they will slowly but surely get weeded out, and you'll create a different community that also empowers you.
So this is unbelievable because that's also a struggle that I've faced in this space of education and information and all of that. You get caught up in trying to be what everybody else is or showing up the way everybody else shows up. I And that's not me. I struggle with trying to look like and be like and sound like everybody else. Here's the thing. I'm a Philly girl. I'm straight from
Hey, let
Philadelphia.
them know. Let
You
them
know,
know.
let them know.
Let them know.
You
Talk
know what
about
I
that,
mean?
John.
That Joan, don't do that. Oh my gosh. But I am who I am at the end of the day. I didn't have the best education. I didn't have like formal education or the best upbringing. But at the end of the day, what I do have is that stick-to-itiveness. I do have that go get it. If it's out there and I want it, I'm going to get it. And so that is who I am, right? So I don't want to have to show up as somebody else.
Yeah.
And I want to be, I'm loud, I'm extra, I'm over the top.
Yeah.
Sometimes people tell me I do the most and do, you know what I mean? So I want to embrace people who other people tell you need to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Or you need to do something else. No, do you.
Exactly.
Be you. And it's okay. And it's okay to not be perfect.
And you know what the best way to do that is?
Talk to me.
By you doing that for yourself.
Yes.
You can inspire other people to see,
I love that.
I can do that because she's so confident and comfortable in the way that she is. So I can do the same thing as well because I'm a Philly girl. I look just like her, And then the more that you are, you're more comfortable in your authentic self. That's the best way because people see people talk all the time. People see,
and they see right through it.
They see right through it. People see right, but the more you're authentic with who you are, that's when it's one of the most powerful things when someone has really defined, like, this is who I am. Forget who wants to think otherwise, because that becomes an unstoppable force where you're like, I'm not going to change who I am. You either get with it or get lost.
On. And that is the word, the fact that words have meanings. Words have meaning, and you use the word unstoppable. And that is essentially how I feel right now in my life. That everything that God has for me, nothing and no one can stop it. Because when purpose aligns with passion, that intersection, the momentum of that intersection it makes you unstoppable. And so some of the people that I tend to attract, because you attract everything, I attract people who can identify where I was recently. I got fired from my job in 2022. And that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because I was one of those individuals who believed in the lie. What lie am I talking about? Go to school, get a degree, get an education, get a job, devote 30 years to the job, stay loyal. It's funny how people want you to be loyal to them, but they're never loyal to you. right? And so I fell into that trap of work, 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 work. And I was literally building the legacy of somebody else.
Yeah.
And so when that happened to me, I was shocked at first. I ain't gonna get you wrong. I'm not gonna hold you because that has never happened to me before prior to that. But it had to. See, God had to push me a little bit into my destiny. Just a little bit. I needed a little push. I had already had real estate. I already had the experience. I knew how to operate a virtual real estate business, but I wasn't doing it. Why? Because I was so busy working for somebody else. And so it was as a result of that that I began to take my virtual real estate business seriously. And it's simple. Like, I know people are like, well, what is it? It's like, everybody knows what wholesaling is. The difference in what I do in virtual real estate is I have instituted and adopted systems and automations that allow your business to be put on autopilot. And so these automations allow you to send follow-ups and send out emails to individuals. Whereas before, if you had to manually do that, it was taking a lot of time. And so I've created these systems and these automations and these SOPs that will help just about anybody be successful in a real estate business.
I love that. I think that's going to provide a lot of value to people, because when you start a business as an entrepreneur, oftentimes the main way that you look at how you can make progress is by seeing how someone else has done it, right? Because you want to accelerate your timeline.
Yeah.
And typically when you start saying to yourself, you got a little business, right?
You got that little business. I got that little business.
Without realizing that it's systems that separate the businesses that scale and that grow and that are respected.
Yes.
And when you start applying those systems, now you create an expectation for your clients so that it can run like the doctor's office that you go to.
Yes.
When you show up at the doctor's office, you're not talking directly to the doctor right away. You sit in the waiting room. You're not fighting about it. That's just how it is, right? And then you sign in, because that's the way it works. And there's that buffer, and then after that, you get the prescription, you get the follow up.
Yeah.
But the doctor might not be the one that follows up and asks you to schedule another appointment.
There are multiple individuals on that team.
Exactly, but oftentimes when we start a business, I understand you got to do a lot, maybe everything, all at the same time.
Yes.
But then that switch that is desperately needed is to understand where you can apply the systems so that you can create a culture that you respect and your clients respect.
I love the word
and it
respect.
starts with that self-respect first.
Yes.
Because your time shouldn't be divided everywhere and still expect your business to grow.
Wow. No, that's amazing. And that is how we help people. Instituting these systems, applying these systems to their business, these SOPs. And in addition to that, teaching them how to create a team so that they are not spreading themselves too thin. And so they are not, because when you are when you are spread too thin, you're not efficient, you're not effective, right? And then people don't respect you as a result of that. If your business is all over the place and you're not able to return calls or follow-ups. And in addition to that, what I realized is when you first start out a virtual real estate business, you pretty much do everything. Like you are the acquisition manager, you're the disposition manager, you're the marketing manager. But over time, when you scale, you then begin to delegate those roles to other individuals, thus allowing your business to grow. And that is what I want to teach individuals, like how to take the information that you already have compiled and how to grow it, period.
Yeah, I think that aligns very well with some of the work that I do in my coaching practice, because so with EntreMOTIV, we help entrepreneurs create something that they actually love. By help and also help them motivate themselves. And one of the reasons why I created it is because there was a time when I was a commercial real estate agent, right? And I started thinking to myself, what's the trajectory of this right now? What do I need to do so that I can create something that I actually love? So I started thinking like years ahead and thought, do I want a big team? I actually didn't. I have to be honest with myself. Like, yes, I saw the big teams on Instagram. They're doing great things. Like, cool, great for them.
But that's
but
not for me.
that's not for me.
I get it.
And if I'm really going to be intentional about creating something that I love, I have to be honest with myself. So I want a lean, profitable team, and being able to have the bandwidth to also do things outside of the business that allows me to give back and do things that I love beyond the business. And
Oh, can I say something?
yes,
May I
please.
please interject? It was on the airplane that this whole thing happened when we had our conversation on the airplane. Because I had never heard about coaching that what's the word I'm looking for? That influenced individuals to do what they love. I had never heard of that kind of model. Find whatever it is that you're doing and make it something that you love to do, and then do that, right?
Yeah.
And when we had that conversation and subsequent conversations after that, I thought I completely shifted what my plan would be. Yeah, anybody can learn this stuff that I'm doing. Anybody, I could teach anybody how to do this. It's our theme that we can help and assist individuals make $10,000 plus a month in virtual real estate. That's an easy thing for us to teach people to do. But I wanted to do more.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump in with the people. I wanted to position myself to be able to help the people hands on, because it's so many coaches out there, so many people that are just saying, here, this is what you do this, go figure it out. But not a lot of people are physically getting in the fight with you. And so our clients are our business partners. So while I am teaching my clients how to create a virtual real estate business and how to put buyers and sellers together, while we're doing that, we're also partnering on deals together at the same time. So while you're learning, you're growing. And while you're learning and growing, you're becoming more profitable. That's what sets us apart from other people.
Yeah, I like that. And I like that you lean more and more into what is it that would make you feel fulfilled, and not just do something that this is just how things work,
Or this is how you make money.
Yeah.
Because I matter too in this equation.
Absolutely.
And for me, what makes me feel the best, yes, I want money just like the next person. But really what makes me feel good is when I see my work in somebody else. When I see my love manifesting in somebody else.
Yeah.
When I see somebody else grow as a result of something that I told them or showed them or taught them, that for me is bigger than any paycheck.
Yeah.
And the paycheck will come. Like I'm gonna attract money. That is gonna happen. I'm not concerned with that. The word of God says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added to you. It doesn't say seek ye first the money. Yeah. It doesn't say seek ye first the wealth, the fame, the fortune. It says seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then everything else will be added. Added is another major word in that. Added, not taken from you. You know what I mean? It will be added. And so I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to pour into somebody and give to somebody something that was not given to me when I first started out. I made it. I made it because of my upbringing. I made it because of who I was raised by, because my mother wasn't going to have it any other way. Like, you better figure it out. I'm the figure it out queen. However, what about people that don't have that extra bit of motivation?
Yeah.
I can provide that. I can encourage, I can let people know, listen, if I came from here, you can certainly do this.
Yeah.
So.
And like, the one thing that I realized was, the more, it's okay to have a little bit of selfishness in it, where you think to yourself, what do I get from this? And like, oftentimes we think to ourselves, we might have a little bit of shame because you are like, sometimes when you're growing up, you feel ashamed in receiving. You think that you don't deserve money or resources or a certain level of prestige and respect or whatever it may be. And when you can discover what it is, the value that you're receiving from helping someone, that can be a mindset shift that motivates you perpetually.
It does.
Because for you, as someone that wants to make an impact, a positive impact in someone's life, that is payment. Of course, you'll need money so that you can grow that impact more and continue to support yourself as you go through this journey. But that is also an exchange that I believe that once people understand what it is that they receive from this and that they desire from this, it will be a much more clear path for them.
Oh my goodness, you hit it on the head. One of the things that really inspires me is the legacy of it all. Because while I might be helping individuals directly, you know, if you were my client and I helped you, that's not just helping you. That is helping your son. That's helping your wife, your legacy. And the joy that I get from being able to help someone build their legacy is greater than any value of any dollar, right? Yeah. Because what my program is, it's not just real estate. I am not just teaching real estate.
Tell us more.
So with that being said, you know, when individuals enter my program, of course, we are going to deal with the mindset, because you have to have a certain mindset to succeed, period, to see success. And so we deal with those things, those limiting beliefs, those negative self-conversations that people have. And so we start with that. But in addition to us then transitioning and learning the real estate game, I also teach individuals how to establish trust, right? My husband and I, we recently just did this because we wanted to find a way to allow wealth to just continue to carry on generation after generation. And we wanted to be in a position where we could control everything and own nothing. Yeah. And so with that being said, you know, we not only teach individuals how to make money in real estate, but then we teach them how to take the money that they make in real estate and invest in other businesses. And you mentioned earlier, yes, we did. We are business owners and we just purchased a dry cleaning business, nice. But we used that. We were able to buy that dry cleaning business by leveraging money that we made from real estate and also other life insurance plays that we made.
Yeah, so this can be I know a lot of people who think that real estate sounds cool. I've seen some things about it online, but they feel lost. They don't know where to start, and they don't know really what to believe. There's a lot of people out there that they might have been scammed at one point, and hurt, and want to find someone that they can trust and that they feel can actually better their lives in a way.
I'm getting so much of that, and it's really heavy, because I understand the burden that is placed on me, and I understand the responsibility that I have to show up and treat people right and do people right. And so the way that I overcome that is simply by getting in it with my clients. We partner. I give so much of myself, of my resources, that by the time they get started, I've given them so much. Yeah. And not just like of myself, but literally, you know, connecting them with my own resources, that they come into the program already winning.
And I think that's why people should give you a chance with the things that you create in this space, because you're not doing it. You're doing it for a greater purpose. Mm-hmm. You're doing it because that's what you would have needed.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
And you still need this in a way where seeing the positive impact on your clients,
that's my reward,
feeds you.
Yes.
So it's a symbiotic relationship. I think that's what they call it, right?
Where I love that.
They feed into you by providing that. I trust you. I'll enroll in this, and you're able to just give as much as you can, because you want to see the impact of their lives changing, them being able to build a legacy. And so I can't wait to see more and more of what you're able to do. I believe that everything starts in the mind. In a lot of us, we forget how to imagine. We become afraid to imagine.
Ooh.
And we think to ourselves, you know what, that might never, that's never gonna happen. I don't have the website yet. I don't have the logo yet. I don't have the,
Yeah.
but honestly, who cares? You
And you
just
don't
do
need
it.
everything
You
to
don't,
get started.
because no one's perfect anyway.
No one.
And,
No
and
one.
and once you can have an idea that you've imagined and you put it out into the shared reality, you can't put that back into your mind. Now you just move
You
forward
gotta
and
execute.
because if it's in the shared reality and you say, I am Nia Ball and I am the legacy builder and I have the legacy builder wealth system, I can either ignore that or um I can um I can respond to it. But either way, it's a response.
Either way, I
Either,
was getting ready
e-
to say
either
that.
way, I cannot ignore what you've put out into the shared reality.
Yes, because it's out there and I am she.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ignore it.
Exactly.
Either way, it's a response.
Either way.
Oh my goodness. I love that. Um, One of the things that inspires me most is family. I'm very big on family, and I'm also very big on families, becoming wealthy together. And we do a thing called the Family Legacy Meeting. Our mentor, um, you know, kind of laid the foundation for that. And I did it.
Wow.
I gotta tell you about my experience of doing my Family Legacy Meeting. It was last year in May.
Okay.
May 5th to be exact.
You remember the date and everything.
Because it was horrible.
All right.
It was traumatic. But in the experience.
If you can just talk a little bit about what a family legacy meeting is.
I'm going to get there. In the experience, I realized how important and how impactful having this family legacy meeting was. So let me go back. A family legacy meeting is a meeting where you get together with all of your family members and you guys put your credit reports down. Everybody determines what your credit history is and your credit health. And then after that, you find out which individuals in the family can get funded with business funding. If somebody doesn't have an LLC or doesn't have a business entity established, we get that stuff done. And then what we do is it's essentially group economics. We put our resources together to buy real estate. We put our resources together to, do some other type of business acquisition or something like that. And so that was what I was doing. I was getting my family together and we were going to talk about, what everybody's financial position was and discuss how we collectively as a family could pull our resources and leverage that money and not have to necessarily go to the bank or, just to have more buying power, right? So I reserved a space. I went all out.
Okay.
Pekins. I went all out. I reserved this space. I had it catered. Amazing. The morning of my event, the space called and said they double booked and they couldn't receive me. And then mind you, I got all of these folks over here expecting to come get some chicken.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I can't. So now I'm in scramble mode. So I'm calling all over the place. I finally find a hotel that was willing to take us in the conference room. We get to the hotel, we get everything started. I'm on the mic, I'm mic'd up, we're over there. I'm sharing game about credit and, business funding and so forth. The fire alarm at the hotel goes off and wouldn't stop. And so I'm like, well, can you guys turn this off? So we're trying to talk. It's like loud. And I was like, okay, devil, you don't want this to go down. You don't even want this to go down. So, and then I had guest speakers lined up on Zoom that were going to come and speak. And it was just like craziness. I packed my family up. There was about 40 family members in this room. 40. from as young as 15 years old all the way up to the elders in my family, because I wanted everybody to get this information. Packed us up. We went outside on the lawn and we continued our family legacy meeting. But that is the essence of my mother all day long. If one thing doesn't work, you pivot, like you said, and you figure out a way to get it done. And I said all of that. So after that, I was so bummed about the experience itself. But even in that, it began to ignite a fire in the young people in my family. Now they are like seeing the vision. And what they're also seeing is perseverance. Never give up. Like, keep pushing through. If one thing falls through, you find that if the door closed, kick in the window, like whatever you have to do, figure out a way to make it work. But that is like, so I need to do another family legacy meeting. And so I'm going to have one of those very soon. Because we have so much collectively. We have so much power collectively. And I want us to be able to, invest with that.
Yeah, so it's not just about the chicken. It's more than that.
So much more than just the chicken, but they didn't know that.
See, exactly.
See, they thought they were coming for the chicken. That was to get them in the door. But it was so much more than that. Before they arrived, we had everybody complete, run their credit, bring their credit report. So even if you weren't in position to get funding, you're bringing your credit report because we can help you collectively to get it where it needs to be. Why don't families talk about these things together? Why don't families talk about life insurance? That's another thing that we recently just invested in. Yes, we invested in life insurance. I know that sounds crazy. However, it is a thing. We purchased an index universal life insurance policy, IUL, and we funded it, and then we were able to get cash value from the policy within 30 days, and we used a portion of that to buy a business. Why not? But families should be talking about that. You should know, like, the oldest, most healthy person in the family, everybody should pitch in to purchase a life insurance policy for that person. One thing that's going to happen is we're all gonna die.
Yeah, but we're scared to talk about it.
But we're so afraid to talk about it. It's almost like taboo. And it's like, why are you hoping on my downfall? You know what I mean? And so we don't do the responsible thing, which is use life insurance for life and not death. And so those are some of the other things that I'm going to be teaching in my wealth system. Like, what we have to do is find a way to build I want to call it like a fort around our families. It's very strong and fortified. But wealth and money isn't the only thing that makes that up. It has to involve love. It has to involve respect. It has to involve, standards, norms within your family. Like, a norm for us is, when my kids were younger, we never allowed them to fight in front of us. Like, I don't care if y'all go in their room and tear each other and the whole room up.
That'd be me and my brother.
Yeah,
we'd clean up the blood before my person.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
But that was a norm. We would never allow it, because that's legacy for me too. Legacy for me is making sure that siblings don't have sibling rivalry. There's going to be a little bit of sibling rivalry all the time. It's just going to be, it's natural, but I'm never going to be a proponent of it. As the parent, I'm going to always discourage it and remind my children that they are who they have. Your brother is all you have. Your sister is all you have. Act like it.
Absolutely.
And neither one of you is better than the other one. You know what I mean? You are both amazing.
One of my brothers, my older brother, he was my first business partner.
Ooh.
And it's so convenient when you have like a built-in, best friend, I guess.
Yes.
But you have to decide it. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
I love this.
There's so much to love about the people that are around you. And maybe it's just conversations around boundaries and respect and whatever it may be that you need to talk about in order to break through and really leverage each other. But because if you're able to find that with strangers, the difference really is there's probably certain boundary expectations there, and there's probably more respect in a lot of cases where I don't know you like that, so I'm gonna walk a certain way. And when you have family, oftentimes it's like, nah, that's just that's just
That's
Nia.
blase,
You know what I
that's,
mean?
yeah.
That's just and so I'm grateful to have had that exposure
Yeah.
and have someone that, you know, succeed or fail, we're gonna try some things.
We're going to try some
We're
things.
gonna try some things.
The last time we talked, you blew my mind with vehicles.
Mm,
And I was hoping that we could kind of talk a little bit about that some more, because
okay.
I have that also too. It did a lot to my mindset and the way I see not even my final destination, but one of my destinations.
Yeah, that you remembered the framework.
What do you mean, remember? You impacted me, and I need you to understand that. We've not talked about it again since,
That's true.
but it's in there. And it has changed me. And so I wanted to because, and I'll tell you why. I struggled a little bit with the vehicle part. Like
Yeah.
I got the destination piece.
Mhm.
I was cool with that. But it was the vehicles, and I just need you to elaborate a little more.
Okay, so the framework with the intention map. At the time that we talked about it before, I needed to do a lot of pivoting.
Okay.
Because remember, I told you that I was talking to, I was messaging my attorney during the Atlanta trip because
Yes, for your trademark.
I couldn't use it anymore, so I had to pivot. And I was like, you know what? My wife said it's not about the name. Just get something. It's about the content behind it. And so we pivoted, and we're working with the intention map, and it actually
Love that.
aligns very well.
Very
because
well.
So the framework for my coaching business is the intention map, and with that, it helps you identify what aligns with your journey, so that every move that you make is intentional. And as you make intentional progress towards the vision that you have, we identify destinations. And those destinations are a collection of experiences or emotions that you want to experience.
Love it.
And so one example of that for you, Nia, would be you want to be able to create create a value exchange system where you can see the positive impact that you have on people's lives, and that produces an emotion for you.
My experience. That's the experience for
Exactly.
me. Yes.
And in order for you to reach that destination, you have to choose your vehicles wisely, because you're not just going to get there. And so
This is so good.
yeah, well, thank you. With the vehicles, I think oftentimes people, they may dream something, but the action that needs to happen in order for you to get to that dream, it needs to be intentional. And if I wanted to, one of my destinations is to be on a stage and feel the emotion of positively impacting lives and having, like, I want to experience people having a mindset shift.
Me too.
That,
I resonate.
You know what I mean? It makes me feel so good.
I want tears of joy, tears of overcoming. I want people to, after the event, to come to me and, express to me how their lives were impacted. Like, I want that too.
Yeah.
And I want to see it actually happening.
And you saw a little bit of my destination in action when we were in Atlanta.
Let me tell you.
As I'm talking to different people and just watching breakthrough after breakthrough,
what was this one was dope for me. Okay, can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah, talk to me.
So it was one thing when you put it on me in the car. Like, I was like, okay, I understand what's happening here. Now I'm inspired. I understand now to be very intentional about everything that I do. So I said, okay, well, but I'm easy. You know what I mean? Anybody can get with me. But when I begin to watch you impact prominent people, people who pretty much feel like they have it all together, When I begin to watch you do that and work in that room like that, that's when I realized how important your work is. Because when it was with me, I was like, oh, okay, I just had a great experience. This was awesome.
Yeah.
I have great vision now. You know, I know how to be very intentional about everything that I do, and I know how to seek the experiences that I want. So I was good. But to watch you in action is it's pretty remarkable. And your voice on top of that is just like it's so awesome. And I watched those minds, because at first it was a wall up. I literally watched a wall come down. You were there. Disarm completely.
Yeah, I'm not someone that has a ton of followers and have a lot of like the social proof or anything like that. But what gave me confidence to walk up to anybody is the fact that I am very much calibrated in who I am and what I intend to do. And no one can stop that.
Unstoppable. Okay,
Yeah,
I have to say this. The calibration part. This is too much. This whole conversation is just everything.
There's a lot.
While we were in Atlanta, I had an event that you weren't going to be going to, but I still needed to go to this event because we were at another event together. So, but this other event, you were not going. And so I was saying to you, oh my goodness, I'm feeling like a little bit of anxiety here. Just, I don't know how to feel. And you shared with me the principle of calibration. And when you calibrate, first of all, you have to understand who you are.
Yes.
Then you have to take a look over there, understand where you're going and who they are. And once I began to calibrate that night before I got where I was going, by the time I walked in that room, you couldn't tell me I didn't belong. I was stepping.
Yeah, hey.
Peekers. I was from here with my
they go to Legacy Building.
Legacy Building is coming in the door. But when you show up fully calibrated, when you show up your full 100% authentic self, you cannot be denied.
Yeah.
You cannot be denied. I knew what I came in that room for, and I did what I set out to do.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you for taking that action.
Oh, thank you.
Because you didn't have to, but you identified that this is something that aligns with your journey. And for you to be able to empower yourself, you're going to take the tools that empower you because it's bigger than you.
Like, I have to get to the stage. I have to get to that TED Talk stage, or that stage where I am empowering families to build generational wealth, where I am empowering families to build legacy. I have to, so in order for me to get to that level, in order for me to get somebody else to that level, I have to get there. And in order to do that, I need to implore and I need to apply principles like that.
Yeah.
That was game changer.
And you need to choose your vehicle and be sure about what it looks like, how it feels, how it drives, all of that. Because when you purchase a vehicle, you start seeing it everywhere, and you start seeing you start seeing the ones that you have. You bought the blue Toyota. Now you see the blue Toyota everywhere, right? So I realized I had quit my job to be a commercial real estate agent. Right? That's a vehicle that I chose. And I said, I'm going to be the best one in this area, this and that, right? And while I can make some impact in that, I realized that that wasn't the vehicle for me to create the most impact that I wanted. So if one of those destinations is for me to be on that stage and to have breakthroughs happen like live, I knew that one of the best vehicles that I can use to get to that destination is to be a motivational coach. That's something that I needed. At like throughout my whole life as a lonely entrepreneur, I know that there's other lonely entrepreneurs out there, and for me to make an impact, I can make an impact with a motorcycle, perfectly good vehicle, or I can make an impact with a nice, sturdy, reliable vehicle like the motivational coaching for me. Not that any vehicle is bad, but the one that aligns the most with my journey at this moment is the coaching. And if I actually want to experience those destinations, I have to be intentional on which ones I'm going to use. And when you're doing it without much assistance and people that understand fully what you're working with, that makes it even more important for you to understand what is it that you're actually what is that you're even doing
what
right
you're
now.
doing. That's what I was getting ready to say.
Like,
yes.
are you like, because we all operate on autopilot, right? Because it's very difficult for your mind to always be working so hard to identify what it is that you're doing and how you're supposed to do it and all the specifics. Is very overwhelming. So it's not that autopilot is bad. It's that sometimes you need to reconfigure your settings. Recalibrate.
All I'm saying is you dropped a whole gem on me that day. And I feel like individuals need to, entrepreneurs especially, really need that insight, because it literally changed my life, that whole calibration piece, because I knew who to show up as and how.
Yeah. And sometimes it's going to feel like you don't belong in this vehicle, right? Like for me, I felt everyone thinking, you kind of dumb right now to quit your stable job, to go into
that's what they
and
thought.
to come into a tough real estate market. And you know, that kind of, well, I've always been kind of resilient in that sense, but at the same time, you start looking at the feedback system of other people and start applying it to your feedback system so that you can help, so you can see how you can determine your likelihood for success.
That's a fact.
Right? So it's hard to ignore that, but the more I started believing in this imagination of like where I wanted to go, the more I thought to myself, I'd rather that than to not even try.
My mother used to say all the time, nothing beats a failure but a try. You gotta at least give it some kind of effort. And so with that being said, like the courage that it must have taken you to.
I felt so much shame and embarrassment when like I even look for that now. I want to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's good.
Because that's when I know that I'm growing beyond my current self.
Yes.
And I had a lot of shame and embarrassment when at all the networking events I'm going to, I'm telling people, yo, I'm a commercial agent, this and that, right? And then all of a sudden I'm something else. I'm like, oh, I want to change my mind again. You know, I already got the ADHD. Now what they going to think?
What they going to think? They going to be like, oh, he ain't serious.
Right? But I made it a game. I thought to myself, you know, I'm going to try this new title. You know, I'm an executive coach.
The thing
right?
is
now I'm a motivational coach.
You can be whatever it is that you want to be, as long as impact is behind it.
Exactly.
I don't care what you call yourself.
Exactly.
When I started calling myself legacy builder, I literally started calling myself legacy builder years ago. But I never embodied it like I do now. Before I was just legacy builder. Oh, I'm a legacy builder. I would barely say it, and I felt uncomfortable even saying it. Like, girl, whatever. But now when I say it, first of all, people be like, Nia. Oh, you talking to me? Oh, you didn't know I was legacy? Because that is, I embody her. Because at the end of the day, and when I close my eyes for the final time here, y'all gonna know that I built some legacies. Y'all are gonna know that it was it was my passion, my desire, my purpose to help people to build a positive, flourishing, wealth-filled legacy for their families. And I feel in every fiber of my being, I feel that. So coach, put me in coach. You are a coach by every sense of that word.
Yeah.
Because you not only you empower, you motivate. These are definitely characteristics of a coach.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
And I feel like you being a commercial broker would not have the same impact.
It would not. That was not the right vehicle for me.
Come on. It's
And the more I
okay.
became intentional with that, the more I was like, I'm okay with this decision, regardless of the negative feelings that I might feel, or how someone else might, or what someone else might think, because when you compare the impact that you can have versus the temporary discomfort that you have right now, there's just no
It's no
comparison.
comparison.
Because people's mindsets shift. People's like the way, like what you see right now, all of this is gonna change
It's
anyway.
temporary.
Might as well change it to someone that you like anyway.
Why not? Why not?
Like, so you might get laid off. You might have to pivot on your business because of something external. It's like, why not believe in yourself more than the discomfort that's happening right now that might be pushing you down? Because things are going to change anyway.
They're going to change anyway. Why not be who you want to be in that moment, in that space, and change with it? Because we have to change.
Yeah.
You have to evolve, because that is what life is all about. It's about evolution.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the whole vehicle thing just did me in.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Like for me, I have this thing where I feel like I was always a coach, like you said, because I do speak from the heart to the heart.
Yeah.
Where I remove myself from the equation in a way. I remove the way that everyone looks at people, and I start looking beyond all of those.
That's how you got that person that we were having a conversation with.
Yeah.
You went right to the heart.
I really don't care what you're looking like, what you drive.
Yeah, what you drive, and none of that matters.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
I'm not worried about any of that. You went right to the heart, and when you did that, transformation happened in that space. I was so proud of you.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
to watch you.
It's inevitable to face yourself when you're not distracted by the things that you've put on. You know. And so, like when I'm able to remove those things that you've added onto your identity and just look at the core, you can lie to everyone else, but you can't lie to yourself.
Lie to that. You can't lie to yourself, and you can't lie to heart.
Yeah.
See, heart, it knows.
It knows.
That's why when you talk to people, you always lead with the heart.
Yeah.
You come in with the heart, and you go to the heart.
Right,
so I can't every time. And I'm telling you, I'm watching big burly men go down. I'm like, here's another one. As you were getting ready to start talking to them, I was like, they don't even know what's
about to happen. Yeah, but and what I love about it is because like when you go down, you can go back up much further than you.
But down doesn't necessarily mean down for me.
Yeah.
When I say down, I mean taking off the mask.
That's it.
Taking off the facade.
So much better. Yeah.
Like down, I meant down, but in a different way. Down in that everything that you had built up, the wall, came tumbling down, and it was just nothing behind it but heart.
Yeah. And that's when you can see what you have.
Yeah.
Who you are.
Yes.
And then you can go harder on what you've built. And that's why I feel like no matter where you are in life, there's always a new adventure, a new destination for you. And you just may not be, you might actually be distracted by certain goals.
Yeah.
Like, where'd that goal come from? Like, that's what you need to really understand. Where did that goal come from?
And does it align with the journey?
Or did you just see it on Instagram?
Yeah.
That might not be enough.
How often does that happen? Right, exactly. Exactly. That's why it's so important to have a why.
Yeah.
And really be tapped into what your why is. If your why is strong enough, if your why is authentic, you will do very well at anything it is that you want to accomplish, because it all ties back to that thing that means the most to you.
Yeah. So, legacy builder, I think we can talk for days.
We can.
We have a lot that we can talk about. And I want to. We might need to do a part two.
We're gonna have to do a part. I think
3
so.
or 4 or 5.
Yes, exactly.
You know, why limit it? But I want to give you a space to talk a little bit about what's next for you and how people can get in touch with you, because this is something what you're building. I want people to understand that she's not stopping. So you can hop on this train. She's unstoppable. Or you can watch it go by.
That's your choice.
And wish you had gotten on.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for this space and for this time. Mac.unlimited_ is my Instagram. I'm also on Facebook as Legacy Builder. And what we're doing next is my children are also now in business with us. And so we are essentially creating a family dynasty.
Wow.
Where, we're identifying what the needs of our customers and our clients are, and as a family, we are tackling it, and we are providing resources and services that can help anybody from, somebody who might be, at their job for 20 years and they're looking at their 401k and they're realizing that is not going to be enough to retire. And so we're helping individuals find alternative ways to invest, right? But we're going to be doing it as a family. Everything we do is as a family because we're all about legacy.
I love that. And I want to empower you to continue to do that to the best of your ability, because it won't stop at the impact that you're making with your family. It will continue to make impressions on everyone else that sees the impact and that sees the vision. So keep doing what you're doing, Legacy Builder, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And so I don't know how to end this.
Because it's not ending. We're not going to end. We're not going to end it. That's how that's going.
This is going to cut.
I'll see next time. I'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. All right, cool.